and tore down the pole and everything. Drunk.
6 o'clock, I'd like
I remember that.
to call this meeting to order at this time. Stand and pledge allegiance to the flag. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Adoption of agenda. I would need a motion in a second.
I make a motion that we adopt tonight's agenda.
Second. All in favor, say aye. Any opposed? That motion carries. Approval of August 28, 2023, September the 5th, 2023, and September 27th, 2023 minutes. I would need a motion in a second to approve.
I have a couple of things that just a couple of clarifications. First of all, on September 5th meeting, that should have been a regular meeting, not a special meeting. And also, I've just noticed as a general rule, anywhere we go into closed session, and just want to clarify, that should be closed with a D. Not just closed session, but closed. Okay. That was all.
Anything else on that? Not, I would entertain a motion in a second to approve.
So moved, Mayor.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Public comment. Citizens may speak on the items not listed on the printed agenda. Please state your name and address and observe the 3-minute time limit. Do we have anyone?
I do not.
Approve changes in the employee policy and procedure manual.
Thank you, Mayor, Commissioners. You guys have copies of all 3 of these recommended changes, and we'll just review them individually. And they have all come from changes that we've made over the past few meetings when we started reviewing our pay schedule, our pay study for the police department, public works, and the water department. The first being the overtime and compensatory time, which is section 16 of our employee manual. And the changes, I left it redlined so you can see what we've changed. And it is that they will receive overtime pay instead of compensatory time. Just taking out those wordings through the statement, but then also adding C1, that any non-exempt employee can request to have their overtime recorded to compensatory leave time instead of being paid at the time it is earned. This request should be submitted to their supervisor with the pay period in which the overtime is earned. So unless that is established, they would be paid for that overtime. Okay. Does anybody have any questions about that policy? Okay. The second one is in addition to Article 5, Conditions of Employment, Use of Town Equipment, and to add in the covering a boot allowance for police officers. The town provides a boot allowance for police officers. Each officer is eligible to receive up to $150 per fiscal year for reimbursement. Each officer must present a receipt and a proof of purchase to their supervisor for approval. Supervisors would submit the officer's approved purchase to the town clerk to be reimbursed. And if an officer voluntarily resigns within 90 days of reimbursement, the officer must refund the town the full amount of reimbursement. And this is basically what the policy is for regular staff on that as well.
On that second line, I think that there's a typo. It says
recipe.
Yeah.
I just saw that. And I looked and Paula both missed that one, so.
It's easy to do. Because
All right.
you know what word's supposed to be there.
And it's not a misspell, it's just
Right.
a typo, so. we'll update that with the, when we put it into the manual.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome, thanks for catching that. Okay, and then the third one is the leave policy, which is under Article 6 for holiday leave. And the change here is that the holiday pay would be based on the regular scheduled hours that the employee works. So it did read that they were to receive 8 hours holiday pay regardless of schedule, but now we have that it is regularly scheduled. If you're regularly scheduled to work 8 hours, you would be paid 8 hours for the holiday. Employees that are regularly scheduled to work 12 hours will be paid 12 hours for the holiday. Okay. Do you have any questions about either of those policies? Can I do one approval on these?
Yes.
Okay. So I just need a motion to approve all 3 policy changes.
Okay.
I make a motion, we approve the 3 changes to the employee policy and procedure manuals.
Any further discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries. Engineering update on infrastructure project. Town manager.
So, since we met last Wednesday night on the 27th, I've reached out to several people regarding engineering issues that we need addressed in town. And just as I reviewed, I'm just going to review what I sent to you on Friday and just update with what I know today. The SCADA system update that we approved for the water plant, the gentleman will be on site. He said he'll be on site tomorrow and he would let me know the day before, and I did not hear from him today, but I've been in and out of the office a lot with appointments out of here. But from what I understand, he's supposed to be there tomorrow. If not, I'll be calling him first thing in the morning. We have spoken with, Michael has spoke with Dan Pritchard with Jamestown Engineering after our last meeting, just get some ideas on the situation that we have with our pressure around town. He gave recommendations on some things that could be done that may not require engineering, but could be a help for the current situation that's going on with the pressure. So we're looking into that. I did reach out to Chris Reed and also the representatives from Century Housing and let them know about the approved purchase of those pressure assist pumps for the homes. And they are actually coming from Fort Line, which is a company we buy from. So Fort Line's going to invoice us directly, and we'll take care of that. Chris Reed and the Century Homes will have those installed, and we'll have a cost for that. So, with the engineering portion of trying to do a connection into the main line going from North Main Street to Handy Sanitary's water tank on North Main, I spoke to Daryl Hanna. Daryl was in approval of us starting the conversation. He said they had just finished up a hydraulic study that Charlie McGugan does their engineering. I reached out to Mac Sunny. Mac has reached out to Charlie. This is a printout of this information that Mac and I just reviewed this afternoon. And in looking at this, is basically what we had thought. I was doing a connection off of Broad Street and a connection, potentially a connection off of the end of Spring Street in order basically to loop it, but also give pressure on both streets and the system on that side. Charlie and Mac, they both talked about potential of doing 2 different bores, but Mac said that both of them, in looking at it, suggested that they do 1 bore connection and do a T off of that so that each one has that connection. So I talked to Mac right at 5 o'clock today, and in speaking with Mr. McGugan, he did not have any issues did not feel like there would be any impact on Handy's pressure if we did that. The only thing that, he did bring in concern is that if they ever take down North Main Street tank for maintenance or repair, that there's not gonna be water pumping to the tank. So at that point, you know, what would we do for water in that section of town? So that's the conversation that they've started. At this point, MAC needs, an official letter from the Handy Board saying that they approve the, potential for us to do a tap into their line. So I'll be sending that official letter to them tomorrow to be presented at their board meeting. So I've told MAC, you know, we're looking at houses being closed by the end of the month, and as soon as they can provide something that would be very beneficial to everybody involved. So we will be, we'll be waiting on the approval from their board. He said it's just better since it's a board system as well.
Is that approval for the tap?
It's approval for the tap.
But do we know how much it's gonna help?
We don't yet, but he said really until you know whether you can even do it, there wouldn't be any sense in looking into it because you're going to spend money for the service, the study, and then if they come up and say, yeah, if they came up and said, no, we don't want to approve this, then there's no sense in us moving forward with that. We need to look at other direction for a connection for pressure issues. So his suggestion was to go to them first to get that approval.
Do we know when they meet?
They meet the third week of the month, so I'm pretty sure that's right. Commissioner, I'll make sure on that, and when I reach out to Daryl in the morning, I will ask him if that's the case and how soon they could have that back to us.
Does that require 2 master meters?
Well, the design, he's got it looks as if they're gonna do 2 connections, but he said in the end, after speaking to Charlie a little bit more in length, that they recommended 1 master meter, 1 connection, instead of 2 separate taps, to just do 1. And then do the master meter off of that. So Mr. McGugan had said that, well, you know, you just take the water that these houses use and subtract it from theirs, but that wouldn't be so because it interconnects into our system. So we would do a master meter there, subtract it from their monthly billing, and then that would account for our usage and their usage. So, okay. The other update is from Lavella, and I spoke to Heather in length about the projects that we have going on, and I apologize, Heather with Lavella. And I did give you guys details on the projects that we have going on with them. So with the ARPA funds, the 2-inch water line replacements have been, the actual project itself has been approved by DEQ. And then when we went back in to make sure, verify all the lines, we discovered that some of the lines in the proposal were already replaced. So we have a list of other streets that we're gonna look at, trying to fill in that gap so that we don't leave money on the table for this. The bar screen and conveyor project is in process, and it'll be submitted to DEQ for the final approval by December 1st. The other 2 projects that they're working on is the stormwater project and also the I&I study. And both of those, the money has come to us. The I&I study is basically that. There's not any engineering or anything to do with that. It's where they're going to go in and see what's causing the issues with the I&I at the sewer plant. You know, most of it, as Troy Branch has told us time and time again, that when it rains, he can just watch the level rise on the water coming in from stormwater. So the stormwater and I are going to play a part together on that. As far as the hydraulic study, I did speak to Heather Miller in detail about our issues with the pressure that we have, not only on the one particular part of town of Spring and Brawl, but just system-wide. And even as Mr. High shared at our last meeting regarding coming out straight from the water plant. She did take all of our town maps, and she has them to a point where she needs us to verify that we're not missing anything. And she said once that information is completely verified, that they have everything that we know of, then they can put it into the model. Once the digital mapping is complete, from what I understand from her is that at any point in time, you can put any scenario into the software and it'll get the results that you're looking for. So looking at pressures, looking at what if we put in a booster pump in one area of town, or if we did glow valves at the water tanks and things like that. So they are in the process of doing that. And as I stated in my email, I do feel that it is, since they are in the midst of this project, that we continue with them, because any other engineering firm that we use would have to do the same exact thing. And that would just put us even more in the process of doing it. She said that once everything's finalized, it would take, they could have the study 4 to 6 or 6 to 8 weeks. That's, yeah, 6 to 8 weeks to have the hydraulic study completed. And
How
then,
many projects have we got from them completed?
well, we don't have any from them completed. If you recall, I don't believe they realized that they were to do all, they were our engineer overall. They were just looking at the ARPA fund projects.
But they ain't got any of those approved yet either.
Yeah, they're approved, but there's steps to each approval. So it's not that they've been submitted, they've been approved. Now we're waiting on final approval. So it's not, like I said, it,
I mean,
I
like
don't know,
bar
it's been
screen,
2
they
weeks.
have to prove that, DEQ does.
they do.
Because that should have been one of the first things when we hired them in June of 22 when we hadn't got a thing from them, right?
That is correct, but as I stated, they did not know they were doing
So
an overall
what did they
project.
think they were doing?
From what they understood, that they were to come in and do the ARPA fund project only.
But they hadn't done anything there either
They're at the final stage of having it bid out.
in a year and a half.
Well, as I have stated before, the DEQ, it is a 4-month turnaround process.
But they ain't got DEQ yet, right? Part of it.
No, there's several steps to DEQ. So you have to originally submit the application. This is what we want to do. Then you have to come back, once they approve that, you have to give them specs as to what the project is going to entail. And then they have to approve that. Then you have to come back and say, this is our final. So we got to the final for our 2-inch water lines, and then realized that half the lines that they had that were provided by us were already in the ground as replaced. So they have to do that update. And it could have already been probably bid out and completed if it had not been for having to redo that. Because then you have to go back to them and ask for them to grant you the right to redo those. You can't just redo them because you've got the road that needs to be, or a line that needs to be replaced.
Are they doing 99 Clark's Acres too? Didn't we do that? Them did
See,
4 years ago?
We did a study already with PTRC, and Labella worked with them actually, and they came back and presented, I believe it was maybe last summer, they presented that study where they had gone in and cambered all the lines, provided the information to us, but that was just Clark Acres, if I'm not mistaken. I could go back and pull that, but I'm remembering that I thought it was just Clark Acres area. But that was through PTRC, and I believe that Labella had just come on, and they worked with them on looking at the layout of that to try to see where the issues were. The other project that we have going on with the engineer is our Highway 109 project for water and sewer line connection. And the bids are going out tomorrow on this. I just need to make sure, some engineering is doing this bid, and they're wanting to make sure that if they have the bids back in on October the 18th, that we could call a special meeting on the 23rd to award the bids in order to go ahead and get the process started for that project. And that is a Monday night. It is the 4th. I think there's 5 Mondays in October, so it would be the 4th Monday of October. And they wanted me to make sure, before he sends this out to the contractors, that would be an okay date for the board. Is there any objections to that date?
Repeat that again. October 23rd.
Yeah, it's be 3 weeks from today.
I'm good.
You okay with that, everybody? Okay, all right. I'll let Bobby know that. I'll text him after the meeting so he can go ahead and move forward with that. Has a completion, 2 different completion dates because it is a water extension and it's a sewer extension. We've had to work around, DOT wanted us to stay out of the roadways because the original plan for that was to bore under and come across 109. And they really wanted us not to do that, so we had to go back and do a redesign on that project. So we'll get that back out to you just as soon as the bids come in. Okay. All right. Y'all have any questions?
Troy, how many times have you talked to the engineers?
I guess 3 times.
Michael, have you talked to them?
I was saying before, doing the same.
And Ms. Miller said that she would be here at the November meeting. I know the board asked on Wednesday night that they be here, but she already had a commitment for this evening. So she said she would be here next meeting to present any other information on those projects. Is there any other questions? I'll keep, as soon as I hear back from Daryl in the morning, I'll let you guys know where that process is on that.
Okay. Thank you. Town attorney update.
Good evening. So one thing I wanted to update you guys on is I'm working on a redraft for you of the Town Ordinance Chapter 10, which is the public nuisance and general nuisance, which we have talked briefly about to try to make something that can be enforced. So I'm working on that now, and I will send that to Angel and to Chief for their opinions and suggestions on as well, and then I'll circulate it to you guys for your comments also.
Okay.
That's the only public update I have.
Thank you. Town manager's report.
The only other thing I have, so our street festival is coming up October the 14th, and we've been working on trying to make sure things are together for that. I did mention in your update that the fire department's hired 2 new employees. Public Works, we did our bulky item pickup this past week, and it's really not as bad as it has been in several years now. They might have difference to say because they were out there doing it, but it seemed to go a little bit easier. Both vehicles that have been purchased by the police department have been delivered. We're just waiting on those to be marked so they can be put into service. And then we do have a candidate for our BLET paid position. She is actually in BLET now and came to us wanting to be an employee with the town. And she graduates in December the 20th. She came out and dropped her paperwork off today. So that'll be one that'll be a little bit quicker coming on board. We did hire a maintenance/operator at the water plant. Did an interview for the ORC position today. We'll wait to hear back from him on that. Very knowledgeable gentleman with lots of experience. I think it'll be a really good fit for us if we can, if we have, an offer he can accept, so we hope so. Parks and Rec was busy the past month. They had their fall litter suite with 21 volunteers, so they were real excited. Sam Grimes was the lead on that, and he was excited about, he kept saying he was gonna have over 20, so we had 21. So Bark in the Park, they had 25 dogs participating. Rolling Meadows, Dayton County Sheriff's Office, K-9 unit was there. The Denton Animal Hospital and Tractor Supply helped sponsor that event. And then you guys should have gotten a notice about our Christmas party for November 30th. You can RSVP soon. We need to get a count to the caterers for that.
Just a curiosity, on the Bark in the Park, who else co-hosted? I know that they were having trouble getting somebody.
So it was Rolling Meadows.
Okay.
Rolling Meadows.
Okay.
They, she
I
has
knew they kept
really,
waiting on a commitment.
from Barbara Simpson is Rolling Meadows, and that's who they were waiting on. Barbara has actually, I think probably for the last 3 or 4 years that they've done this event, that she was kind of the lead on it, and they, went in and support for them. But, with the canine unit and Denton Animal Hospital wasn't able to be there in person, but they sent lots of door prizes and stuff for the animals and stuff. But the pictures and videos look really cute. Looks like everybody had a great time. So
It was very
overcast.
Yeah, it was.
yeah, it
I
was.
missed a couple meetings, so I wasn't sure.
Yeah, it was. It was overcast and just kind of misty rain. So they were glad that there was 25 participants that day. So that was a good one.
We actually went and took one of our dogs.
I ended up being out of town that day. The street festival, since we've combined it to one, I know that Parks and Rec is working with the pageant, but has that also given you additional people to be able to help out on the 14th to help spread that out some?
I just don't know if I know what you're asking me. I
Okay,
apologize.
since we consolidated, since we consolidated one festival.
Right.
I think, at least in my head, part of the hope was that the Parks and Rec and you guys, the town administrative staff, that y'all could spread that work out more. Is that how it's working out? I knew that they were taking the lead on the pageant, so I just didn't know about the day of the 14th.
Okay. So the pageant portion the main part of the pageant will be on Friday evening, and they'll do the crowning on Saturday in between the two bands. We've got Hampton Drive from 11 to 2:30. I think is what we have come back with, 2 or 2:30. And then in between that band and Company A coming on stage at 4, we'll do another local entertainment and our crowning. Now, the street festival has just always run different than the Watermelon Festival did. There's not a lot of hands-on for the street festival itself. There's the pre-work where we have to get all of our vendors, our mapping lined out, where everybody is, and then we're just kind of downtown that morning directing everyone. We have reached out to the couple who does the cornhole tournament, so they're going to be here as well. We just not sure on what time they actually want to start. If they want to do the 10 a.m. or maybe spread it out a little bit over the day since we'll be a little bit longer. But as far as the work on the admin staff, it's just minimal that day of. It's just, it always has been. It kind of just runs itself.
Okay.
Whereas the Watermelon Festival, you're selling t-shirts, you're selling watermelon, you're selling lemonade, you're, doing all these activities that require our attention. So it is a little bit smoother event. I guess it's the easiest way to say it.
Okay.
But
I
they
was
will.
just curious.
Yeah, but they will be there for the Parks and Rec group will be there for the crowning, and if there's something that comes up, I'm sure we could just reach out to any of them that will come in and step up and do something there.
Okay,
Yeah,
I was just
but it
curious.
is.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Angel, are we still down on Parks and Rec and planning zone?
We are. I'm going to try to push that out because we've got Sam Grimes. He filled a seat that's a 1 year. So I thought what we do is see. I feel sure he'll want to renew that for a full term. So what I thought I'd do is push that out so we can kind of get those seats coming in together, and that way that we're not having a half of the year or something like that. It makes it a little bit easier to track for members. We're 2 for Parks and Rec, and we're 1 for the planning board. So we do know, if you guys know of anyone in the community that may want to fill one of those or might be looking for some to be involved.
All the new additions, I think, have been really strong.
They really have. They've got a really good group, and they're really invested in what they do. And they've taken on the projects. They've got project leaders who are helping to figure out the process of each one. This year, of course, is going to be like a training year for them. They have said, this is kind of our trial and error. But, they're really, looking forward, already starting to look at some stuff for next year for, back to school bash. We did a review of that with the, South Davidson Resource Center, because they were really pleased with the community involvement with that. So, look, it's got a lot of potential there for next year.
I did want to ask though, in terms of the members, anybody that comes on the Parks and Rec will need to be a town resident, is that correct?
Yes. they
Because
will.
everybody that,
Everybody else is out of town, so
except
they
for
will,
Rebecca
it's,
and Susan are both in town, right?
I think the bylaws say that there has to be 3 in town, and then the other members can consist of in or out.
Okay.
So we do need one more from town, and then the other could be in or out.
Okay. I couldn't remember exactly how to read
Right, and then the planning board is in town, because we only have the one ETJ, and that's appointed by the county.
So you're able to cut that board back down to 5, probably might be easier to fill.
For the planning board. Yeah, I mean, we definitely could look at that.
'Cause it was originally 5.
It was originally, and then, what was that, maybe 2017 that we made that change. So, it would be, easier to fill sometimes, and then easier to have a quorum when you have a meeting, that you're not looking at having to have 5 people there present, so maybe definitely something. And what we could do is just play that by ear and how response comes in. If we're not getting that response, then we can come back and do an amendment to the membership of that board. Okay.
And Angel, this might be you, or it could be Misty, but updating the animal ordinances. We've got a slew of cats all over town.
So I've got that actually included in the nuisance ordinance,
Okay,
so I'm
good.
sending a proposal for
Good.
that.
I saw that in the minutes when I was reviewing minutes, and I was like,
Yeah.
what is that about cats and animal ordinance? So, thank you.
Yeah,
Well,
I've got
I'll
it.
look
I mean,
at
because
that.
you can't let dogs run, but cats are all over the place.
And they shouldn't be.
Right.
Okay, all right, sounds good. Is there anything else?
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Commissioner comments and concerns?
I do have one thing, and it's just a minor something, but has anybody noticed the shades at the Civic Center?
We've
you
got
got-
sizes to order.
Okay.
They're in some bad shape.
They're in very bad shape.
Yes. We're gonna get the 2-inch faux wood lines.
Okay.
'cause
Yeah,
that
that'll be
covers-
good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're in pretty bad shape.
Great.
And I thought something else too, Mayor. Did we replace the truck, the public works truck that got hit, or what is the?
Just received the check for that, and so at the next meeting, we'll have all the information to do the replacement for that.
We're buying new or used?
We're buying new. What Michael has suggested is that we put his truck into service for the guys to drive, and then the new one will go to him, so it's better on gas mileage, because his is
A little less 10 or something, Michael?
pretty.
Like Daniel said?
Put him in a little Ranger.
Just like I told Angel, all this equipment we're pulling out so much heavier than what we had. That truck I drive is a 3/4 ton four-wheel drive, it's got the towing package, it's got electric brakes, it's got everything. So they pull that equipment with it.
We've got 2 options through Capital Chevrolet through the state bid process, so we'll have all that to you guys at the next meeting.
And the police cars, where are we at on, I mean, I know there's some here, but are they the ones?
There, so we've got one from Missouri, am I saying that right? Missouri, and then one from the State Highway Patrol, in North Carolina. And, so they are both here, we just have to have them detailed and have the bar lights and everything installed. And so we're closer to having those extra vehicles. The truck, where it was involved in the, minor bump up at the checkpoint will be repaired soon. We just got the approval for that from the insurance too. So I think we're just, from what I understand, it was back door has to be replaced, and they're gonna look to see if the front door has any damage. They can repair it, or if it needs to be replaced as well. So,
What was the cost from the police cars?
do you remember right off?
Do you recall the,
Yes. The North Carolina car was $12,650 it came with blue lights and a console, and some cabling for radios. The car from Missouri with 54,000 miles was $21,000. and the North Carolina car had 111,200 and some odd miles.
Mike, I gotta ask you this question. The camo truck, is it ready in case we have a snowstorm 3 or 4 months from now? And the motor, you know, yeah, is that thing running now?
It hadn't let us know yet.
Okay,
The motor grader's not running there, is it?
Motor grader on that.
but the camo truck still
There's
rolling.
the snow.
I know our focus has been on water and sewer and everything this past month, but, paving, where are
Okay.
we
I'm
on
glad you
that?
mentioned that, I meant to give you an update. So, Chris Coyer and I spoke, he came into town 2 weeks ago, and Michael and him rode around just making sure that areas that were being paved, if there was anything else special going on there. Chris and I reviewed everything last Thursday and last Friday. He had a couple roads that involved this 2-inch water line replacement. So I've asked him to take streets out of that next year and change it out, because we don't wanna pave a road and cut a road.
Yeah.
So he, just sent back today, he's ready to send it out. He is gonna try to push for some of the paving to be done this fall, asking if there was a particular area. And, I got the email right at 5, so, but he should have it sent out by the end of the week. And, we'll have the bids in for that, I hope by the next meeting, so that way we can go ahead and award those two.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Anything else? Okay, closed session in accordance with North Carolina 143-318, attorney-client privilege and personnel matters. I need a motion and a second to go.
Make a motion that we go into closed session.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Uh,
Board is now in closed session.